Hello, and welcome to another stream from K-BAS. It's been a while, people. I do apologize for making you wait this long, but here is Act 2 of my Phantom Breaker 2021 tier list. Actually, I should say Phantom Breaker Extra 2021 tier list. Just need to emphasize this extra. This isn't Omnia because Omnia is not here yet, and I am not the type who lets to make those day -20, -50 days tier list. No, this is a tier list for the other game that came out back in 2013. But without further ado, I'm going to try to actually continue from where I left off from my last stream. That was, I think, a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. But I'm going to give you a quick abridged version of how we're going to start this out. But actually, you know what? There's another thing I want to do because I do feel I need to also emphasize what do the different rankings represent. So let me actually get that up real quick. I had a guide, I had a thing, and now I lost it. Yeah. All right, I don't have the thing that was going to help me categorize the different rankings, so I'm just going to start from scratch again. Probably best thing to do even with this tier list. So, all right, for starters, as you can see, we got S plus, which is top three characters. S rank, A plus, A rank, handicap, and the unrank. So we're gonna start from the bottom and work our way up. So for starters, this is where I put White Mikoto and L. One, these are the boss characters. And what makes the boss character different from the regular characters? One, they don't follow the rules of the game's mechanic. For starters, Phantom Breaker is a game where you first pick a character and then you pick three of the different subsystem style, which are quick, hard, and extra. However, when it comes to White Mikoto or L, they don't get to choose a style. You just pick them and they already have a predefined style for them. Not only that, basically you could say they have an amalgamation of all different styles. For starters, White Mikoto is based off the hard style Mikoto, but unlike Mikoto, she still have access to a double jump and slip shift, which if you ever choose the hard style, you only get one jump and you don't have access to slip shift. You get critical and set burst. But White Mikoto, she disregards that rule. She gets to have the benefits of having a long dash, a double jump, and I forgot the other one. Double jump. Oh, and the ability to use slip shift and slip shift cancel. So she basically gets the best of almost both quick and hard style mechanics without some of the drawbacks that comes with it. Then there's L, who's pretty much the vice versa. She's based off. She's pretty much based off of the hard style of L. Not hard style, sorry. The quick style of L, but she does get to have the nullified protection mechanic from no, not nullified protection. Basically, she gets to have the hard style perks, which will be critical and set burst, while still having access to double jump, slip shift, and a couple of other stuff. So essentially, again, both of these characters just have an amalgamation of both styles, so all three styles. So personally, for me, in my personal opinion, when you look at White Mikoto and L, they pretty much invalidate Mikoto and M. And because they personally invalidate them, by invalidate, as in basically what they have almost just supersede what the base version does. So I see them as, if anything, I'd say cheating. Some people don't agree with me on that, and maybe it's a bit harsh, but because they basically stand on the realm of we're just better than a base character, I put them in the unranked or boss character or basically banned tier. If I could even make a rule, I would ban them. That might be ironic since we're actually in their character ranking, but if you look at my character ranking, you see they're not that far apart. As you see, I got an S, and then the lowest I have is A, and technically the handicap. While in other games, you have a much more spread out tier list where basically you get to unviable territory and viable territory. Now, while there definitely are characters who are better than others in Phantom Breaker, the gap between how better they are is not so wide that the ones who are in the A rank can't compete against the S plus rank. Like, the gap is not that far. We're not treading Marvel vs. Capcom 2's territory of low bottom against the Master God tiers. We're not in Third Strike where you can try to play with, let's say, Sean, 12, and Remy and see maybe marginal success, but once you go against a top tier, you're pretty much in a losing battle, almost. No, we're not there. We're more closer to, let's say, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, where even Black Goku and Zamasu before the current recent patch were still viable and had their niche roles they fill. Maybe that's not a fair comparison because those are team-based games, so you can have a low tier partner up with two high or top tiers. So let me go ahead and step away from that and hold on. Okay, my mic is working. Cool. So I do think my mic is working. So let's so yeah, let me not use Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I want to think of another game that I feel is pretty good and balanced. I guess for the sake of, even though I don't really love this game myself personally, we could look at Guilty Gear Strive. But even though that game's meta is still forming, there's no character that's in the realm of you shouldn't play this character or this character is unusable. That character might have been Faust, might have been Anji Mito, but even they still have their worth and value. Even they can still compete against the likes of Soul Bad Guy, Ramathal, and I'm guessing now we're going to say Nagaruki and Milia? I don't know if people still think Giovanni's top anymore. But yeah, regardless, that's the realm of balance we're in, where characters have obvious flaws, but the player can overcome them or work around them if they can. But, so, yeah, getting back to the tier list. So, personally, I do think that White Mikoto and L shouldn't be present, but that's why I have to put them in unranked. But if I even did rank them, they'll definitely be around the S rank, because that's where Mikoto and L even stands. But we're not in the S. We're still working our way up. So now we're going to go to the handicap. So the handicap only has one residential character, and that's Shizuku. For all intents and purposes, after version 1.03 that introduced Shizuka, she was already kind of sketchy in the how strong she is. I won't say she's unviable because thankfully Phantom Breaker mechanics can let her play the game. No one really, doesn't keep her from playing the game and even benefiting from the game's mechanics. The problem is we got, ever since version 1.03, one of her defining moves, which is her DP, which is like one of the fastest DPs in the game, there's a glitch that basically makes her glitch freeze. Basically, she gets stuck in the air and she can't do anything. And the glitch can be replicated fairly often to the point where, say she don't have the life lead, she tries to DP because maybe she's being pressured, or maybe she's trying to optimize her damage because her DP does have high damage. She accidentally activate that glitch, and now she's stuck in free fall. The opponent could, either take a shot at her, or if they got the life lead, if the opponent has the life lead, then they could just do nothing, and they're going to guarantee that win because Shizuku can't stop. She can't do anything. She's just completely stuck. So the glitch hurts her. But then not only that, even her original playstyle before that glitch introduced, like I said, is sketchy. For starters, she has a lot of moves that make her back turn. What does back turn mean? Basically, she has her back against the opponent. And the thing with that is, in Phantom Breaker, whenever you attack the opponent's backside, they suffer a critical hit, aka a counter hit. It's guaranteed counter hit. And counter hits in Phantom Breaker can be very damaging for a lot of people. And it seems like Shizuka was designed with the fact that we gave her very strong attacks, she got strong whip punishes, but if she actually misplaced her attacks, then she could be heavily punished herself. And the fact that many opponents can do that to her, both if she even hits them or don't hit them or have her attacks blocked, she just basically playing a high risk, mild reward game. It just puts her in a bad spot. So basically, that's why I got her in the handicap. If the glitch wasn't present, then I would probably have moved her up to A, but she'll probably definitely be in the bottom of A, maybe. But yeah, that's where Shizuku is. Actually, going forward, I'm going to say right now, I don't have any of the tier lists organized. Like, you may see some characters in the A rank that's before another character. That doesn't mean that they're better than that character. It's just I haven't organized them. The only top 3 that's actually organized, sorry, the only people who are actually organized in a row will be S plus top tier characters, top 3 rather. So let's go ahead and move on because don't want to waste too much time like I did before. So now the first person on the entry, because this person is easier to talk about. But actually, before I talk about Finn and A rank, what does A rank mean in my tier list? A rank are basically characters that have a pretty good game plan or niche of a game plan that they can apply. However, they also have obvious flaws with their game plan. But I guess in the most simplest term, like I said, Phantom Breaker is a game where you first pick your characters and you pick your styles. You got 3 different styles. In short, people in A rank, they technically only have to play them optimally. I see that there's just one style you should be playing with them because it's the optimal way to play them. And because there's one style that's the optimal way and the other 2 styles give them minimal to low benefits or probably fall in, I'll use a different style for a counterpick sake, but this character obviously was designed to be best in this style. That's why I also put the A rank people. So going on off that now, Finn. Finn is a character who is very good in quick style. Quick style allows her to damage the enemy's guard meter very quickly well. She can do that with her dash C. She does actually have pretty good, I want to say projectile or clashing. Rather, she's actually one of the few characters who do want to clash against her opponents because she does actually have one of the better Phantom Breakers. Like, if we had to rank all Phantom Breaker attacks, which are the final attacks for each character, or rather their final super, Finn is definitely at least in top 5 because her Phantom Breaker is an air unblockable. So pretty much it's also a very strong whiff punish tool or just even a strong Oki game where really the only way to deal with it, if she doesn't combo into it, is to either try to force her to whiff by either back dashing or have some move that's a lot of invisibility. But even when you do use invisibility, Finn still technically is plus because how quick she recovers. So yeah, again, Finn has one of the better Phantom Breakers in quick style. Her Hearthstone Phantom Breaker is just a beam, which is sort of fine. It gives decent damage, but the fact that majority of the cats can dunk under it means she can't really use it to zone out. She can try to use it in her combos, but the fact that when she does combo into it, it lets the opponent air attack afterwards. I don't think she wants that because Finn is a character who wants to get a knockdown on her opponents. Then she can set up her projectile that covers her approaches. She's like, if I want to make a parallel to a character, I'll say Ino. Gets a knockdown, throws out an attack, and then she runs in and does whatever type of mix-up she wants. So yeah, that's Finn. But what also keeps her under the other character, besides the fact that I think her optimal style is only quick style because she doesn't get much from extra. She doesn't get that much benefit from hard style. There's also the fact that one, she has probably the second lowest health in the game, which means she has little room for error when she does fight her opponents. Not only that, she also is the most floatiest character. In other words, there are combos you could do on Finn that normally you can't do around other characters because the game's gravity will make characters fall quicker or faster, or you don't have enough time to link stuff. The fact that Finn just floats in the air means you could combo her even more periodically, and the fact that she also has the second lowest health means you can get a lot of optimal combo on her pretty much in a lot of scenarios, and she's going to also take a lot of punishment from that. So that's why Finn is A rank, and basically in the A rank. Only good in quick style, has a pretty good pressure game, somewhat okay Okizeme game, not really that great of a defensive game, and when she is getting hit, she takes a lot of damage from that. So yeah, that is Finn in a nutshell. So now let me look at my list and pick who's the next person on this list. All right. So everybody's favorite character, the one that everybody thought really is top tier because how easy it is to combo with her, Waka. Now you're actually going to see you can actually go online and see a lot of people playing Waka because one, she has very considerable range. That is true. She's also she is the combo queen of the game. She does have the ability to combo people almost effortlessly from any touch. But why is she A rank? Well, for starters, none of her Phantom Breakers are really good. Her spinning Phantom Breaker quick style, one, you can just dunk it or backdash it to make it whiff. Second, it doesn't do that much damage. None of her Phantom Breaker actually does much damage. In fact, that's actually the thing with Waka. Waka's damage, she could combo you pretty effortlessly and do long combos like that, but she also just barely has damage. Even when you go to hard style, her damage is meh. So even if you get quick style, which she has the most combo potential, or extra style, you're barely hurting your opponent, and her Phantom Breakers even reflect that. Her Phantom Breaker gives the opponent more meter before it even kills him. So in fact, the opponent can actually burst out of her Phantom Breaker due to how much meter she gives the opponent, how little damage it does, and yeah, pretty much. You could break out of her Phantom Breaker even if you're at 0%. So yeah, Waka, strong combo game, does have good range to kind of lock people down a bit, but she isn't hurting you that much. So she doesn't get that much benefit from either quick or hard styles mechanic. So her optimal style is really extra style. Why is it extra style? Because while her Phantom Breakers are terrible, you have an ability to do multiple overdrives from extra style or being able to use her EX moves, which are still decent, they're serviceable, they're not terrible, they're not great, but they're also not terrible either. She needs an unblockable, she gets unblockable. She wants to lock people down, she can lock people down. She wants to do a little more damage on her combos, she can do that. She can even corner carry easily with one of her ES. So her ES are good. So basically she wants to use extra style because she could use 4 ES, which is way more valuable than just having 2 ES from the other styles. Not only that, Reflection is a good mechanic because Waka reversal are not really that good. Like, no, they're just not that good. She doesn't really have any good reversal. And while Quick does have nullify attack and Hardstyle has the same thing, I think Extra Style's Reflection is her best mechanic because she gets to have the both world of both Quick and Extra if just, bad stats. And because she's able to keep people out at the mid-range to some degree, basically when any opponent wants to try to approach her, they usually have to try to jump at her or gag wrestle against her. It's easy for Waka to react to what the opponent wants to do and use Reflection to safeguard her pressure or even getting out of the situation. So the fact that she's pretty much only really good in Extra because it's way more valuable to have more EX, she gains little benefit from hard or quick style. This is why I have Waka in the A rank. So the next character on this list, Wren. So what about Wren? So first of all, what is Wren about? He is a pressure style character to some extent. He has some pretty good dash attacks in my opinion. I actually do think he has pretty good mix-up. Someone else does say they think that his mix-up is not that great compared to someone like Cocoa, but we will get there eventually. We're sticking on Wren. Wren definitely has probably either the third or second highest damage output in the game, with the highest belonging to Gato. So Wren does hit hard. So because he hits hard, I do think he's best in the hard style. Hard style. Why hard style? Like I said, Wren already hits hard by himself. Even if he's in quick or extra style, Wren hits hard. So the fact that hard style gives him even more damage on top of that, it allows him to, if anything, one-shot his opponent more. Not sure one-shot. Let's say finish the fight really quickly. And Wren does want to finish fight quickly because he does not have the range. And a good majority of the cast do outrange him. So the last thing Wren wants to do is play an endurance game against a good majority of the cast because one, if he can't reach them and hurt them, then his damage doesn't really do him any good. And he does have good meter build. That's another thing. His grab is pretty good in meter builds. He does actually have good reversal. And in fact, this is where I think the developers actually intentionally made Wren for hardstyle. Because one thing about hardstyle is we pick hardstyle, you usually have one of your special moves have armor or guard points. But usually it's only one command. For whatever reason with Wren, they give him two command attacks that have guard point. His DP and his I think Venom Trigger. It's a move where he like turns around, rushes, and punches the opponent. Basically, both the moves have guard point, so the opponent can't really try to attack Wren out of his approaches when he tries to approach them. And like I said, Hardstyle gives him good damage, and because he is outranged, he does benefit from Hardstyle's nullified attack protection. Problem is, because Wren lack range, not only that, has no projectile, this means Wren really has to respect people who has projectile, which means he doesn't get to start his game outside of a few matchups. Like, Ende outranges him. He has projectiles. Gato, who's almost like the fortress of the game, he also has projectiles. Infinity, projectiles. Itsuki, she doesn't have projectiles, but she still technically even outranges him with her buttons. Kirisu has projectile and traps. Mei has multiple projectiles. Mikoto has a projectile. M has a projectile. Ria has a projectile. Remy technically doesn't have a projectile, but she has projectile, but it's more like a stationary projectile that makes it hard to approach her, which Wren still has to respect. Still, Sophia has a projectile. Tokia projectile. So again, pretty much outside of Itsuki, Shizuku, she doesn't have a projectile. So besides this character and that character, everybody else has a projectile to zone out Wren. And like I said before earlier, Hardstyle is good at dealing against physical attacks, not against projectile attacks. So if Wren wants to even fight a good majority of the cast, he will want to use Quick Style to basically bypass zoning. But then he loses out on the Hardstyle damage output, which means he's still playing an endurance game. So this is why Wren is at an end range. Because his best style, which is definitely Hardstyle, he's still put in a position of, I have to respect people who can zone me. And even if he wants to go to Quick Style, which does allow him to have a slightly better combo game and even better meter and can slightly do better pressure, he still has to respect zoning to some extent. Like, even though I said Quick Style's nullified attack is good against projectile, it's not the end-all solution. And most characters have a way to deal with, oh, you want to bypass my projectile? Well, I'm going to do this so you respect what I'm trying to do with the projectile, or zoning. Yeah, let me say zoning. So yeah, this is why Wren is A-rank, because his best style is hard style, doesn't get that much from benefit from extra, and quick style is basically a heavy gamble. Against maybe certain matchups, like let's say maybe Infinity, yeah, he may really want to use quick style to counterpit that. Otherwise, he really wants to stick with hard style because that's where he gets his most bang for his damage output and whatnot. Because even with a better combo game and quick style, Wren still struggles to combo. He kind of struggles to get long combos going. Hence why I feel hard style is better, because you don't have that much of a combo game, but you just hit hard. You hit hard. So yeah, that's where Wren is A rank. So the next character I'm going to put on this list now. Let's see. The next character on this list. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put Mei here. So let's talk about Mei, the idol of the group. So, as I did mention before, Mei does have zoning projectiles. You can almost think she's a zoner, but she's actually slightly more closer to Finn, where she wants to get some form of a knockdown and then use her zoning tool to help cover her approach so she can actually do some mix-ups. And in fact, May's mix-up is pretty okay-ish. The reason why, because she has a move that allows her to leap and either do a strike attack or a command throw. And it's pretty good. It's decent. It can definitely help her open up people who really on the blocking. However, that command throw does get invalidated by a good portion of the cast because the grab portion of the attack only happens when she's like waist high. If she gets lower than waist high, then the grab really doesn't work. And good portion of the cast, once they start dunking, then she struggles to use that throw against them. Another thing, so let's talk about defensive options. She actually does have a DP, which she can even combo from it if she lands it. The problem is, if it's blocked or whiffed, she's pretty much heavily punished for that. So it's kind of a gamble. And even that, her Dragon Punch is not fully invincible. It's only waist high invincibility, basically anti-air invincibility. But mid attacks, it doesn't work out for her. So because of that, I do personally put May in the A rank because there's only one style that she really gets the most out of, and I think that's the hard style. One part, because when May does get a combo, the hard style helps her combo do more damage. May actually has her move that actually has guard points when you choose hard style. It's like a pressure move that basically locks the opponent in, so she can almost do an infinite block string if the opponent chooses to not guard cancel. And it's also an overhead attack, so it can catch opponents who are sleeping trying to down block. So that once she gets close, if she can just keep spamming that for a good degree, it is an effective strategy. So that helps her out a lot. As I mentioned, Hardstyle gives her good damage. And Hardstyle gives her protection, which is great. And other thing is, only May's, Phantom Breaker in Hardstyle is actually a true reversal. All her EX or supers from other styles, they have no invincibility. So opponents can't hit her out of it if she tries to use it. Only her Hardstyle Phantom Breaker is a true reversal. And it's pretty good. It's pretty fast. A lot of after frames. It knocks opponent down when it does hit. She can't even combo into it and to get a good knockdown if she wants to get that. While her quick style is pretty okay, Phantom Breaker. I mean, it does a bunch of big homing projectiles. Problem is, opponents can actually just use Slip Shift to bypass it. It's really hard to combo into it because of its startup. So it's not really that great. So in the end, I say, for a character who already don't have good defensive option, going with Quick Style, which does make her zoning faster and build meter faster, seems nice, but then when she's caught on the defense, she's a sitting duck in my opinion. So having Hard Style, which basically give her some defense because she has commands that have armor points. She has Nullified Protection, which is pretty good against dealing with people who want to strike at her. And even when people want to zone her, her own zoning tools actually delete a few characters' projectiles. So other characters don't really get to outzone her outside of Infinity, Ende, and whatchamacallit, who else? Kirisu. Like, their zoning is stronger than May's, but Mikoto's zoning? Nah, May's zoning beats hers. Remy's, did I say Remy? Did I say L? Oh dear God. M's projectile doesn't beat May's projectile. May's projectile is stronger. Tokyo projectile, they're stalemate. Like, their projectile war is stalemate. Yuzuha's projectile doesn't beat May. So even though May loses out on Quick Style's Nullified Attack, which helps her against zoning, at the same time, May also just has a better fireball game against a good portion of the cast. She's still not a zoner because she doesn't get that much reward from zoning. She does get much more reward for being up close and actually making an opponent make bad decisions. So that's why she's not a true zoner. She's just probably better at zoning than good portion of the other cast. But yeah, that's May. She's maybe best in hardstyle because her offensive game is pretty good, and hardstyle just makes her defensive game at least substantial. Trying to play extra or quick, not that good. But we're moving on because I think I went on a tangent. So the next person I want to add to this, since we're out to talking about zoning, let's keep the trend of zoning. Ende. Ende is probably the second best zoner in the game. Now you heard me say second best. Who's the best zoner? That's definitely Infinity. I'll go on to why Infinity zoning is better than Ende's, but we'll stick on Ende for now. So one, Ende does actually have good large normals, disjointed normals that he can zone out against the opponent. He actually has 2 different projectiles with his 4M, which is a missile, and then he also has his own beam projectile. And in fact, that's what makes his zoning slightly stronger than other characters too. His projectile is a beam, so you can't really clash against it. And yeah, you really can't clash against it. And just like even May, who also again mentioned has good zoning, May projectile are not beams, so her fireballs does lose to Ende. But why do I have Ende in A rank then? Well, one pretty much no defensive options whatsoever. Like, he has no good defensive options. Second, quick style. Like I said, quick styles nullify attack, which is a dodge. That is very, very, it's very susceptible to being guard locked down. Sorry, let's say, there are infinite block strings you can kind of do in Phantom Breaker when it comes to overdrive and whatnot. However, Ende is actually one of the characters in the game who can actually utilize quick styles overdrive that well, because one, Ende only has one low attack, just one low attack, and to do like true block strings, you need to be able to combine multiple low attacks. You need to do a light low attack, medium low attack, hard low attack, and then do a dashing low attack, and that's all a true block string. Ende can't do that at all, while actually every other character can kind of accomplish that to some degree. Ende's light medium, I don't think it's a hard attack. His crouching hard attack, fierce attack. Let's say fierce attack so I don't mess up. His crouching fierce attack is not a low attack. It's a anywhere juggle attack. In other words, it gives him the ability to juggle. In fact, he does have a surprisingly good combo game for a zoner. But because he can't actually pressure people that well, and ironically, he does have a lot of overhead attacks, but you almost have no reason to guard low against Ende because he only has really one low. Actually, let me say 2 low, because I think his crouching medium is a low, and his crouching light is a low, but they're his smallest range normals, and he barely gets anything from those normals, so they're almost useless not useless. Let's just say it's not that strong to begin with. Not only that, he also doesn't really have that much good reliable defensive options himself. So, one, basically Ende's best style, he's in the same case when it comes to, I want to say, well, actually, he technically can use 2 style. I think he can use extra style pretty okay, because Reflection is a good defensive mechanic, and it allows him to somewhat have a good pressure game against people who guard a lot, because they'll be able to use multiple, Reflection mechanic allows you to weaken people's guard gauge when they attack you. So that helps them and be able to deplete people's guard gauge. But not only that, Reflection also just make sure Get Edge is a good, not good, but okay-ish defensive option. It's okay defensive. It's not as good as hardstyle defensive option, but it is okay. But this is why I think he's actually good in hardstyle. His Phantom Breaker, once he lands his Phantom Breaker in hardstyle, which covers at least half the screen, which means you can't ever jump against him to bypass his zoning. It's a true Phantom Breaker that you can't reversal against with emergency style. Sorry about that. I was checking that message. His hard style is actually pretty good. I will maybe even rank it in the top 5 along where Finn is, because Finn, her quick hard style, unblockable. Ende's hard style, covers half screen, and when it does land, the opponent cannot emergency mode against it because it's like a grab. Well, it's a hit grab, so they have to wait till it finishes before it ends. So they can't emergency mode out of it. While every other character's Phantom Breaker, from these, people can burst out of their Phantom Breaker if they have the meter. Ende's, his is guaranteed, so he can get guaranteed damage from that. And he's not actually too shabby at building that meter, even in Hardstyle, which has a weakest meter build potential. So yeah, Hardstyle, his best style. But once again, because he can't pressure people that well, like in Quick Style, so he effectively has no real mix-up because you really would never block low against him because his low, and even if you do get hit by his low, it's not leading to anything unless he overdrives. And even then, when he overdrive is not really that great in building combo. Sorry, it's not that great in combo. I think Quick's overdrive is better for doing infinite block string that leads into guard crush because it does chip damage. It locks the opponent out from doing guard cancels, and when you do guard crush your opponent, it adds to the tension meter, which does increase your damage output and whatnot. So yeah, Ende, A-rank, because basically his best style is really hard style. An argument could be made for Estra, but he can almost not really benefit from quick style, in my opinion. And not only that, he struggles to open people up. So yeah, that's where Ende falls. And last but not least, for the A rank, now we got Itsuki. So the thing with Itsuki, she's basically actually, in fact, I would say she is borderline A plus to S. What makes her not actually be up there with the rest of the people is the fact that she has no projectile of her own, which means she does have the closest distance against characters. And while she does outrange, let's say, Wren, she doesn't outrange any other character. She doesn't outrange Ende. She's not outranged. Well, Cocoa and her are kind of in the same range. She's not really outranging Gato, or better yet, Gato just had higher damage, so Gato can even afford to not have that much range because he's just a bruiser. She's not outranging Infinity or any of these characters right here I'm talking about. She doesn't outrange them. So, because she has no projectile, she is forced to approach the opponent, which means the opponent can then just try to counterplay her because she has to take the initiative for the most part. Now, what is Itsuki's strength? She actually is one of the characters who is actually good at dealing at both of the game's defensive mechanics. Well, actually, she does actually have an infinite block string of her own that it doesn't even require quick overdrive. So she has infinite block strings. She actually has very strong anti-air game. Not only that, when it comes to dealing with nullify attack from either quick style or hard style, she has option to deal with it. Her crouching special, that's good against hard style's nullify attack, and quick's nullify attack, you use back special against that. And not only that, she, like I said, she technically has infinite guard string. There are actually gaps on her guard string that requires you to crouch. So the fact that she can knowledge check against the opponent really quickly is like, hey, do you know how to deal with my pressure? No? Okay, I'm going to just keep doing this until you learn how to do it proper. Not only that, Itsuki actually does have, her combo game is not that good. Unfortunately, it's not that good. When by not that good? One problem is one of her best combo tools or combo fillers is her back ES special, because it launches the opponent up and it keeps them in a soft knockdown state, which means they can't air attack. Problem is that same special does so many multiple hits because it's mainly really used to guard crush your opponent. It gives the opponent a lot of meter. So while Itsuki can hit the opponent hard, it's easy for an opponent to just emergency mode, cause her to be half screen away, and now she has to reapproach her opponent again. So she has a hard time maintaining momentum when she is trying to pressure her opponent. And that's the thing. She has a hard time keeping the momentum. And when you look at all the different styles, quick style, it allows her to have a better mix-up game because of the double jump and how her air normals operate. problem is the fact that quick style has the weakest damage output. I don't think she really benefits from that. Not only that, her hardstyle has the better Phantom Breaker. I think no. I think. Let me check this out. I gotta check this out. Let me verify this. All right, yeah. So her hardstyle Phantom Breaker is a big bullet bill projectile, a very strong projectile at that. It hits about 4 times, so it doesn't get to the point that much meter. It does bit damage. Technically, this is Itsuki's only projectile, but the fact that it's a Phantom Breaker means she's not going to get it that often. But it's the one that's safe against emergency mode, even the opponent tries emergency mode against it. It gives her at least some anti-zoning property because it is her own projectile, and opponents can't clash against it that easily. And it does good damage. So yeah, it pretty much is her superior Phantom Breaker in regards to her quick, which is just a Rambo series, which she actually can't even combo afterwards. But the fact that it does so much hit, the opponent is at least maybe 75% full meter, if not already full, if they already have meter already. So it's like you're kind of giving your opponent an out when you use her quick style Phantom Breaker. Extra style, having no nullified attack is really a burden. It really is a burden. But the reason, so I don't think she really gets that much from losing out at having a nullified attack. Having multiple overdrives, not that great. And even having multiple ES, while it seemed nice on paper, I don't think it really benefit. I don't think she gets that much benefits off of it. Reflection is nice to have, but that's about it. Compared to, let's say, Hardstyle, where, again, protection, one of the better nullified attacks. Set burst, there you go. Even if she doesn't have mix-up in Hardstyle, she does have unblockables because Hardstyle gives you unblockables. And her unblockable is pretty damn good due to how her counter burst operates. It's an attack that hits from the bottom up and then goes upwards. So it's hard to make that attack with compared to a few other characters. So in the end, Itsuki's probably ultimately play at Hardstyle, but then, like I said, there are counter picks to styles. Thus, if you want to play Itsuki her best, you want to stick with Hardstyle, but then your opponent is going to start counterpicking and it gives her trouble. And that's actually going to do it for the A-rank people, if I'm looking at my current tier screen. So, summarization. The A-rank people have good strengths in certain areas, even some that even better than the characters on top of them, but usually they can only use one style to play optimally. As opposed, let's say, the A plus and S people, these people actually still have the luxury of choosing different style because they can benefit from either or styles. While A rank, Finn only wants to use quick style. Waka only wants to use extra style. Wren really just want to use hard style. May really just want to use hard style. Him also just hard style. Yeah, hard style. Almost everyone uses hard style, with Finn being the exception who really wants to use quick style. So yeah, that's not gonna be safe with Shizuku. Like if Shizuku was not handicapped, I would even say hard style is her best style because she has good setups into counter bursts. She pretty good at comboing on her own without needing quick to improve that. So just being able to kill the opponent quicker gives her, helps her a lot. And again, Hardstyle does have one of the better defensive mechanics, at least system wise. So yeah, now let's go into A plus rank. What's A plus rank? Basically, these are people who could have been S rank, but there are some stipulates or caveats to their game plan that keeps them from being S rank, but they are clearly above the A people because they still can technically either choose different styles with the exception of Kokoa, who we're going to probably start off right now. Kokoa is A plus because one, pretty much she actually just wants to use quick style, and she's actually very, very good at using quick style because her counter burst is like a very, very fast overhead that she could combo to it effortlessly. She does get good reward from hitting people because, in fact, she has a lot of high damage output. Like, she's probably the fourth highest damage output game, only being under, I would say, Gato, Wren, and maybe it's no. I think actually then it's Kokoa, and then Itsuki would be right behind her in the next highest damage output. So yeah, so even when she in quick style, which has the technically lowest damage output, she still does substantial damage. But why wouldn't she want to use hard style to then just do even more damage? Well, her main caveat is she has no projectile, which means she wants to close in on her opponent. Hard style, you have a short dash range in hard style, and you don't get access to a double jump, which really hurts Kokoa because she needs to close in on her opponent. So she pretty much has to use quick style. She could use Estra for counterpick. Say I do think Estra works for her, but in the end, she's best in quick style because bigger damage output bigger damage output can build her meter almost effortlessly compared to the rest of the cast. And again, yeah, she's just doing good. So the fact that she can combo easier into other attacks thanks to quick style, speed. That's how she does high damage because her combos do hurt when she can do combos. Now the caveat is again she has no projectile, and she definitely wants to stick with quick style because easier to guard crush the opponent. Her combo game gets extremely strong. Her quick style counter burst is an overhead, so she wants that. Hard style, there's much more delay on her counter burst, so basically it becomes a reactable overhead, while quick style, you gotta guess if she's gonna do an overhead or not. And so she needs you quick style. Here's the problem with Coco, which she wants to fight and kill you quickly. She's essentially the Glass Cannon of the game, in my opinion. Because the other thing is, she does have pretty bad health. I think she's probably maybe the 4th or 5th worst health in the game, with Infinity being the worst, Finn being next, and then I think it's a toss-up between Kokoa and Reme, who has the worst health, or the next worst health. So Kokoa can't take a beating her own self. She can deal the damage, she can't take the damage. And the fact that she has forced her approach the opponent means she doesn't get to run her game plan at all unless she's fighting against, let's say, Itsuki or Wren. Then yeah, she can actually say, hey, you come to me. Or but yeah, we're going to just have a fist fight because we both are a close range fighter. So pretty much she's in the A plus because she is definitely one of the best quick style characters, without a doubt. One of the best quick style characters. But the fact that she pretty much only wants to play in quick style means she can be counterpicked pretty consistently. And extra style, multiple ES sound nice. Multiple overdrive can help her in her pressure game, but really quick style is really just what she wants to use the most. Now, next character on this list, Tokia. Tokia is essentially this game's wall character. He doesn't try to move that often. He forces the opponent to approach him. He actually has pretty good substantial defensive options, or better yet, just not letting the opponent get close to him. He doesn't actually have full screen presence like actual true projectile, because his projectile is like a lightning bolt that comes down from above. So he has complete vertical control for the most part, but overall barely any horizontal control. But in fact, it's even considered that basically Tokia should be a better matchup for Infinity should be a good matchup against characters like Kokoa, characters like Wren, and Itsuki. What's the caveat? Tokyo has the largest hitbox in the game. Even so large that, like I said, you would think Tokyo would have a winning matchup against Cocoa. Actually, not true. This matchup is pretty much 2-8 in Cocoa's favor. She has the 8 winning percentage, while he only has 2. Why? Because Cocoa has a loop that does 60% of his life with no meter off any starter, because she could do like attack grab loop. So basically, he has the worst matchup against Cocoa. So if you ever want to try running the tournament with Tokyo as your main, someone be like, "Oh, you're running Tokyo? All right, let me get Cocoa and just win this matchup." Because the odds of you, because I only need to get touch Tokyo, and he's done. Tokyo, he's definitely not touching anybody in this game, because his damage is not that great. He's good at keeping people out, but when he needs to be on the offensive, he's struggling. And like I said, Cocoa just it's like probably the worst matchup in the game, I would say, because of her grab loop. Now the next character, Infinity, the de facto zoner of the game, the best zoner in the game. Why is he in A+? Well, actually, before I go into Infinity, Tokyo can use all the different style. He does get perks and benefits from each different style, but just the fact that Cocoa is just a straight hard counter pick against him, that's what keeps him from being in the S rank with other people. But he's definitely out. If he's not outraging these characters, he's at least not letting them hurt him at will, because he's good defensive option. Infinity, he doesn't let you play almost at all, because how much screen control he has. He has all disjointed hitbox, so you pretty much, if you're not in his face, you're not doing damage to him in any way, because all his normals are projectile disjointed limbs. Hitting them does not hit Infinity. Infinity projectiles also do massive guard gate damage. Infinity may not be opening you up as much as, let's say, Cocoa or some of the other characters I'm going to mention, but he's making you take guard gauge damage a lot, and if he gets a guard crush, that's pretty much, okay, I get to freely do one of my better combos on him. And Infinity has a pretty good combo. He has probably the best throw in the game, because he grabs you and throws you upwards as a perfect juggle opportunity. Not only that, let's say you even want to tech grab Infinity's grab, tech his grab, repel his grab. Because his grab starts putting you in the hot up in the air, even if you tech grab Infinity's grab, he's actually positive. In other words, he can still run amidst him, even if you take his grab. So yeah, one of the best projectiles. He has multiple projectiles. He has one of the probably the second, third best anti-air potential in the game, due to his C normals, his back special, or even his down special. He can benefit from hardstyle, because hardstyle, he actually has no reversal, but he gets armor on good majority of his move. So, unless your opponent does a very strong hitting attack, he can just try to armor through what you want to do against him. Quick style allows him to guard crush even sooner. And in fact, the high meter build does allow him to use his ES a lot, and he has very good substantial ESs. His ES basically Gates of Babylon. You gotta respect that, because it's like frame 2, it starts being an active frame. Now, Infinity isn't invincible during his ES, but because they're projectiles, they still keep going even if you hit Infinity. While there are a few other characters, if you hit them, their projectile loses their hitbox. Infinity, not the case. Not only that, he probably has the he has the third largest counter burst range. Like his counter burst, if he charges and make it fully unblockable in hardstyle, it's 3 hits. So, if let's say you want to use protection against it, you gotta time 3 different protection to not be unblockable against him. So, Infinity can pretty much use any style he wants and does pretty well. Now, what keeps him in this area with these other characters? Infinity's biggest flaw, besides the fact that he doesn't really have a defensive option, but that's kind of fine because technically he's trying to lock people down. Worst health in the game. In other words, if somehow Infinity does let you get to him, whether you're in quick style, extra style, or hard style, he's gonna be feeling it. Not as bad as Kokoa, but he's gonna feel that damage. Nestle, he also has the same problem as Tokia. Very large hurt box. He's a very big target, so it's not hard to really hit him at awkward angles or even do a lot of perfect cross-up against him because of his big hitbox. Even Itsuki even gives him trouble, even though she's under him because she got approached. If Itsuki gets close and gets a knockdown, she can basically time her tornado attack right on top of Infinity, and he pretty much can't block that because of his big hitbox and how Itsuki's tornado attack works. If you actually go into my previous stream called my Phantom Breaker tier list at 1, you can see me showcasing that. So yeah, Infinity, lowest health in the game, also very big hurt box. Not big enough to where Kokoa can do loops on him with her grapplers, but big enough that you can still get some pretty awkward combos and stuff going on in Infinity. And I think Infinity is also the second floatiest character, so it is easy to combo Infinity as well. So that's why Infinity's in the A rank. Good screen control, best screen control in the game, great at locking people down, has substantial damage, lackluster defense, but not without option. But once the opponent hits him, it's bad. It's really bad for him. So yeah, that's gonna wrap up the A rank. Basically people who are being gatekept by the S people. So now let's get on to S rank. Actually, there's one more reason why also Infinity is in A plus before I go. His hardstyle Phantom Breaker, pretty good. His quick Phantom Breaker, worst Phantom Breaker in the game. Practically nearly useless. Because it is a big projectile, that's a lot of wind up, very hard to combo into, and same thing with, like I said, his Phantom Breaker is actually a projectile where, let's say he wants to use his Phantom Breaker, the projectile version, whether the quick version. If he gets hit, that projectile loses a hitbox, and pretty much you just spin Archer meter for nothing. Let's say Itsuki, who also does have a projectile Phantom Breaker, but even if you hit her, her projectile is still coming to hit you. It doesn't stop. Same thing with Mei. Hers doesn't stop. So Infinity does also have the worst Phantom Breaker in Quick Style. Does that mean you should never use Quick Style with Infinity? No, because the speed and lockdown is still really good. And he still has very, very good ES attacks. So yeah, you may not want to use the Phantom Breaker, but his four special, Gate of Babylon, is good enough. Does good damage. Actually, he can guard crush from just that one ES. So once he has ES, you're going to get guard crush. That is happening. Unless you like sidestep it with nullify attack. Even then, your guard gauge is still down. So Affinity can make you be afraid to block still, even with that guard. So he can still use Quick Style if he wants to. But now let's move on to the S people. These are the people that are basically playing Phantom Breaker proper. In other words, they can play Phantom Breaker. They can use any style they want based off what either matchup or the player's even own preferences. But they're not the top S rank, because technically S rank people are, I'll say, even bullshit status. They just doing stuff that, there's nothing to go against this. But let's go ahead and start with the S rank now, people. So, start off, let's go ahead and go with Poster Girl, Mikoto, the Prodigy. Alright, one, she actually has the best Phantom Breakers. Her Crystal Phantom Breaker is a stupid, humongous beam, even bigger than Finn's beam, that you pretty much deny horizontal approach whatsoever at all. And it will guard crush you if you don't have enough guard gauge, really. And not only that, it does good damage. Mikoto does benefit from the fact that when she in quick style, she can cover the opponent quickly. She can get some substantial combos with her. And the fact that she has quick style, it is not impossible for her to do her Phantom Breaker twice in a match and whatnot. Hardstyle. So, Hardstyle Phantom Breaker. Her Hardstyle Phantom Breaker is probably the second highest damaging Phantom Breaker in the game if she does it as a knockdown. Not only that, her Hearthstone Phantom Breaker, when it does hit, the first 4 hits are guaranteed, even if the opponent has, enough meter. Like the first 4 hit are guaranteed, and they're the most highest damaging of the Phantom Breaker. The last 2 hits of a Phantom Breaker, it's like a 6-hit Phantom Breaker, then the opponent can burst, but they are in at least to 40% of the damage of her Phantom Breaker. But if she also does it as a knockdown, it's doing 80%. Like on counter hit, her Hearthstone Phantom Breaker on counter hit, it does 80% life, almost off rip. So one of the best Phantom Breakers in the game. Good range. What is Mikoto playstyle? She's just a well-rounded character. She pretty much is the Shoto of the game, with slightly better defensive option because here's another thing also. Let's say you do pick Mikoto's hard style, but you're worried, how do I do a projectile? Well, Mikoto's back special has projectile invulnerability, so you still even have ways to deal with people who try to outzone you with her back special. So there's that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And extra style? Mikoto has good ES. She can benefit from extras, multiple overdrive, because she can easily do guard crush. And because Mikoto is a pretty high damaging character, even extra, well not quick, extra. I think quick has the weakest damage output. Regardless, Mikoto can even still hit hard, even regardless of any style she is. If she's in hard style, she's doing the most damage, but that's if you want that. If you want a hard hitting Mikoto, go hard style. If you just want a flexible Mikoto, go with extra style. If you want one that's pressure oriented, that also gets to use her Phantom Breaker a lot, go with quick. I wonder if I said quick twice. So yeah, that's Mikoto in a nutshell in there. Next character, Sophia. So Sophia, she's pretty much well-rounded, just like Mikoto. However, all her chains have a lot of high and low mix-up. She is almost the mix-up character in the game because of her chains. So her pressure is very scary to deal with. She also has good combo loops, regardless of any style she's in. Both her Phantom Breakers are decent. Not better than Mikoto, but decent. Her quick Phantom Breaker makes her do a cross-up attack that does a lightning bolt. And then her hard style, she just does the lightning immediately, which is a great anti-air if she wants to use it for that. Her ES are pretty decent. In fact, she is one of the only characters where if you want to do combos in overdrive, she's actually decent with that because she can do multiple combo loops. Like she has the ability to do a Dragon Punch, cancel to a air grab, Dragon Punch, air grab, Dragon Punch, air grab. That is actually a pretty good damaging combo even in overdrive. So even if you're not using her overdrive for pressuring, if it's in a combo, she even still gets pretty good high rewards. And like I said, quick styles, her quick style chain is a bunch of high lows, and whatnot. And the fact that the double jump helps her, but even if she doesn't have double jump in hard style, she's just gonna hit hard, and she got insurance on her her toxin move, so she can use any style she wants. Her ESs are pretty decent, and she's just very good at miss up. So yeah, pretty much another good well-rounded character who's more focused on missing up the opponent than Mikoto. Now that's hard hitting Mikoto, but you're gonna constantly almost be in a blender with her. So now let's go with the next character. Since we're talking about blender, let's talk about the most blendiest of the characters, or rather, Yuzuha. So, well, actually, she's not a blender. Rather, she's more of the heavy vortex character of the game. Once she gets a knockdown, she can consistently apply okay where she gets knocked down and forces you to make a guess on what she's going to do. She has a command grab that gives her a knockdown. She has a cross-up attack that gives her a knockdown. And if the opponent even manages to block it, she's plus, so she can just start pressuring you. She has a projectile that's actually good at covering the screen, so even if she uses the ES one, it's great at covering the screen. She has also a jumping low attack, the infamous jumping low attack. In other words, when she's jumping up and you want to stand up to guard it, she has a teleport move that makes her go low almost immediately. Go low. So she has a jumping low attack that disorients you. So it's hard to try to block her. And even if you manage to block that jumping low, it's has what's it it's command cancelable. So she can even go to another overhead attack or do a dashing low attack. So she's constantly making you guess on Okizeme and blocking. And pretty decent damage. And again, she's one of the few characters with the actual command grab in the game. It's a flying command grab. In fact, there you go. Just like how I said Mei has a command grab, where she like jumps up and they can grab the opponent. But I said how Mei's command grab, people can dunk against her command grab, so she can never command grab people. Yuzuha, not the case. Her command grab will always work. Whether you're standing, whether you're crouching, whether you're jumping, she can command grab you. So, because she got that consistency and just the good blender ability, pretty good. The only thing you can say that's really bad about Yuzuha is the fact that damage is so-and-so, but you can play Hearthstone and then you get even better damage. So, yeah.